Hi friend, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Dega Fangad, but most people call me Dr. D. I am a physician and an entrepreneur, and I decided to create this channel for several reasons which I will share with you in today's video. But first, I want to start by explaining my story of how I came to be here, how I became a physician entrepreneur. So my training is in internal medicine, and during my residency, I had a pretty rough residency. One of the things that I realized during residency, based on the hours and the system that I was part of, I realized that practicing traditional medicine was just not going to be for me. For one, I have a medical condition that required me to need more rest than the average person. Secondly, I went into medicine with the hopes to prevent diseases. And when I completed my residency, I didn't feel that being part of the system was going to allow me to fulfill my dream of doing that. And so once I went through my residency career, I still wasn't sure what path I was going to take. So I took a job. And within 5 months of being part of that system, the hospital went bankrupt and all the physicians, everybody lost their job. This was in Louisiana. And it was really traumatic for me. I had just moved, I had just bought a house, I was ready to settle there to learn and, have my own patients and all that. And boom, I have no job. I have a house that I didn't even move into that house, and I lost that job. And even prior to that happening, while I was working, I noticed so many problems in the system that I just didn't like. I realized that I wasn't rewarded for the things that I wanted to do. I wasn't rewarded for patient education. I wasn't rewarded for helping patients understand medications or their choices and things like that. It was very run-of-the-mill, almost factory-style medicine, knocks on the doors because of how long I took to talk to patients, all of that. And honestly, you cannot truly have an interaction with a patient for 5 minutes, even 30 minutes, Patients, they ruminate about their problems for sometimes years, and then they have to come and try to find a way to explain it to you in a way that you can listen to them and solve their problem. And then you give them such a small time frame to dish out this information, and the doctor barely has enough time to synthesize the information and then come up with a solution, right? And so I was really happy that I got a taste of what it was like to work within the system, because it really further made me realize that I did not want to be part of the system. And so I lost my job because, hospital went bankrupt. And so I came back home, DMV area, and decided to establish my own practice. At that time, I had heard about direct primary care. And so this is a model that is outside. It's a cash-based primary care model. And this was back in 2017. So I went to one conference and I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So I came to Virginia, which is where I am. I set up my practice. So I've been in practice for 8 years now. And it was rough, My thinking when I started my practice was I just needed to have a website and have my phone number on the website, and then people would suddenly find me. And so when I started the practice, that was when I realized, it's not that simple, right? The reason why we as doctors were able to function in a system was because the system took care of the patient coming into the office through insurance, through marketing, through networking, through so many different things. And so I had this rude awakening of realizing that my plan to start a practice was not going to work out the way I thought, because there were so many steps in business that I didn't understand. And so in the last 8 years, I have gone through the journey of learning so many different things about business. I have had different business models within those 8 years. I will share with you on the channel what worked and what didn't work, and how I came to be in a lifestyle business. Maybe I'll share a little bit of that. So initially, when I started my practice, I was funny enough, I think I was 7 or 8 months pregnant at the time. And so I did what everybody did. I went to BNI meetings, whatever, networking meetings, trying to meet people. And everybody was just trying to sell me because, quote unquote, I was a doctor, right? And so, like, that just didn't work. So then I was like, okay, let me try something else. So I went on YouTube, which is why I'm producing content on YouTube, because everything that I learned about business, I learned on YouTube. I would say 80% of it. And so I went on YouTube University and asked some questions. And at the time, the recommendation was to do content on Facebook and to do Facebook ads. So I learned how to do Facebook ads, and I learned how to start creating content, and I started to get some traction. And that pretty much grew in a way. And then while I was starting to gain traction, I started to attract a particular group of people. I started to attract specifically people of color, and specifically people of color who were struggling with skin issues. Because one of the things that happened while I was doing direct primary care, I had some people call me asking me if I did aesthetic treatments. So I was like, okay, I'm interested in aesthetic treatments. It was something that I thought I could do later on, but I figured I would start doing them now, because it took a long time to get people to pay me cash for health services, but people were willing to pay me cash for skin services. So I went with the flow, right? The flow of currency. And I focused my practice primarily on the aesthetic side, and still continue to do the medical side on the side. So the medical side became more of like a side project. And so when I did that and I started talking about issues on social media, trying to market the aesthetic side of my business, I attracted a lot of people of color, probably because I'm a person of color, and a lot of people of color do not see themselves represented in media talking about things like skincare or health related topics. So that led me to a different side of the business where once the pandemic hit and everything was shut down, I had some time to reassess my business and ask myself what direction I wanted to go into. And so during the pandemic, I decided to switch my business to focusing on treating people of color and people who are underserved, both in skincare and in health, internal health. And so that's the trajectory that I went in, and I continued to build my business. But one of the problems that I ran into was the fact that I had a baby during the pandemic. So I had 2 kids, and now I had 2 kids that I had to take care of. And I had built the practice in a way that was not sustainable for me as a mother, right? And I had literally built the practice in a way that was similar to what the system taught me. I was working 5, sometimes 6 days a week, long hours, right? That is the systemic way of practicing medicine. And that just didn't work for me. It affected my health. I gained weight. I got sick a lot. And so that wasn't sustainable. So then I had to make more changes to my practice and came to where I am now, where I now have a lifestyle medical practice where I work a few days in the office, and then the majority of my income comes from my online businesses. And so that's where I am now, and it's a very sustainable model. I'm literally home on a Wednesday while my kids are at school, and I'm able to do all the things that I love. I love creating content on YouTube. I love educating patients through content. I love having time to drop off my kids at school and pick them up. And I love just having balance in my life, right? Balance is different for everybody, but for me, balance is being in the office 2 days a week for 10 hours. So I work 5 hours on Thursday, 5 hours on Friday, and that is it in the office. I might have some patients online on other days, but that is what works best for me. And so I decided that I wanted to come on here and create this channel specifically for doctors. Because what I think is going to happen to doctors is, with technology advancing, AI and other things, there's just not going to be a huge need for doctors. And someone might argue with me and say that's not going to be the case, but as someone who has studied business for the last 8 years and who understands medicine from a cash perspective, and understands that the insurance model is not going to work and it's not sustainable, I think that the landscape of business moving forward is going to change. And I think that moving forward, every single individual is going to have to be their own business entity. And I think that is the only way that it's going to work in the future. Now, I'm creating this in 2025. We will see what happens. But I think that everyone moving forward who wants to prosper in the new world that is coming will have to be a business person. And specifically will have to be a lifestyle business person who has the ability to work from home or who has the ability to work a few days in the office. You need to have that option. You need to have that flexibility to be happy, quite frankly. I'm just laughing because I'm just like, I finally am happy. Because I finally created the medical practice of my dreams, and that I'm practicing the way that I want. And I have many ways in which I can make money, so there's no stress, right? And so one of the things that I had issues with in the last 8 years was the fact that I just didn't understand business, right? I didn't go to business school. I didn't get an MBA. I did have mentors along the way, but a lot of times the mentors I had, they didn't quite fit the model that I wanted to create for myself. So I figured I would come on YouTube, and on Wednesdays I would make content that is business related. It's going to be content that's going to help the general public to become their own business person. But my passion is especially to help physicians navigate the new world, where they are going to have to be individual entities and still be able to practice medicine or still be healers, because that is who physicians truly are. Okay, so I will be teaching you everything that I know about business, specifically creating a lifestyle business where you can make money in person in an office setting, and you can make money online as well with the knowledge that you know as a doctor. Okay, so it's not like MLMs or some other crazy stuff. It's just you using your education to make money. So online, you're an education business, and in person, you still have a practice if that is what you choose to, because that is what I have. So that's what I would like to teach you. Let's see, what else do I want to say? Yeah, so that is pretty much it. So I'll be here every Wednesday making content. I don't know what time because timing is always weird, but at least expect videos from me every Wednesday, and we will talk about topics ranging from business, traffic acquisition, both organic and maybe paid, if that is the best thing for you. And we talk about branding because, like I said, you have to be a personal brand or an individual to attract people. And some people might want credentials, like, okay, who am I to say all of this? Well, I don't know. I have like 50,000 followers on TikTok right now, and I primarily use TikTok to attract patients to my practice because my practice is very specific in who I serve. I work with people of color, so part of my practice is skin of color, and the other side of my practice is medical issues that affect people of color. And so that's very specific, right? How do you market that? Well, you have to do some form of personal branding. I'm also here on YouTube making content. So, and I've been doing this for 8 years. So I may not be like the expert, but I am the expert in what I am doing for myself, and that's what I will be sharing on this channel. So yeah, that is the end of the video. If anything that I mentioned in this video is of interest to you, either you want to learn business so you can be an individual business in the future, or you're a physician who wants to be prepared for what is coming, then subscribe to the channel. I will put a link to a newsletter that you can subscribe to, and you will get more information. I like to email probably weekly as well, so you get more information and you will learn how you can work with me. And if you have suggestions or questions about any of the content, business, branding, marketing, offer creation, all of that, just leave them below and I will answer that for you. All right, I'm done rambling for today. I will see you next Wednesday, and peace out. Bye.